bet. Good morning, and I know you've heard from the coordinators, and so got a few of those things that you had questions on work through, but just kind of following up on that and in the game, watching the film and all of that from Saturday. Just a lot of the same feelings I had, after the game. And I think the feelings, first of all, that the team has, certainly disappointed, upset, fired up, and I think, you're always looking at what the response is. And they came yesterday back, the thing you have to provide as coaches is the answers, an understanding of where we go from here. And I think our staff did a nice job, and I think our guys did a great job responding with the right mindset, with the right attitude, brought some great energy. Probably one of the nice things about having a Sunday where we get together is, we get to move on. Outside of the building, the game gets held on to for not a day, probably not a week. For some people, you hold on to it for the rest of your life. But for these guys, they don't get the choice. And we as a staff and them together have to move on. And we've done that after yesterday, understanding where we got to get better. We know we're a work in progress. Not a finished product by any means, and that showed up on Saturday. But the key is that we continue to improve, and that's one of our core values, is to have a relentless pursuit of continuous improvement. The guys showed that they want to do that, and sticking together and owning it in every way, and that's staff to every player on the football team. So proud of that part, and there's each side of the ball, all phases of the game, where we can continue to just keep building. We have a great football team. I'm convinced of that. I have no doubt of that. I believe in these guys. I believe in them more when I see the resiliency that they have, whether it's during the games that we've played, not just this last game, but different games. The way that they prepared that leads to the passion that comes out on the football field, and that resiliency. They got fight in them. They want to win bad. They want to uphold all the traditions of Alabama football, and no one feels worse about this than all of us here in this building, the football team and our coaches. So we're looking forward to South Carolina here this next week. Coach Beamer, continue to build on the program there, doing some really nice things. Physical football team, and they're coming off of a tough game as well with Ole Miss there, and things not going their way. So we know it's going to be another fight here in the world of the SEC. Questions?
Thanks, Coach. Start with Nick Kelly on the front right.
Yeah, Tyler Booker mentioned when talking about just a lack of discipline at times, that focus he thought was an issue. How would you assess the focus of this group during the game?
I guess, is there more on the lack of discipline part? What was it referring to?
I just asked him, in moments where discipline wasn't good, what contributed to that?
Yeah, when you come out on the short end, everything gets amplified, right? You look into everything on another level. And so in regards to that, since that was the question, you can point to every little thing that happened and it being a lack of focus or discipline and having to do it better. And I think what it really comes down to is doing it better over and over. And when we gave ourselves little room for error with the way the game started, right? They go down and put a nice drive together, and then we have the ball bounce off the helmet, goes for an interception for a touchdown, and so we leave ourselves very little room for error, knowing that the plan that they already had in place, because it showed up on film in weeks prior to playing us, is that they will play ball control offense. They'll let the clock run down, shorten the game. They get a lead even more so, and then the whole taking them out of their game is going to be harder to do because we're playing from behind. So offensively, we had to kind of probably lose some of the balance that we thought we could have offensively with a run pass. We had to speed up the game, try to add more possessions. We still only got 9 in the game, and that's having sped up the game. That's getting drives at the end of each half where we're trying to move the ball, quickly. So the little mistakes are always going to be, The mistakes are always going to be looked at as areas where the focus or the discipline wasn't there. But I tell you, our guys prepared. All the noise outside the building, I thought our guys did as good of a job as they could. Everyone's human, so I mean the pats in the back or whatever they got, but I thought that they were focused on the right things all week long. The effort, the work that was put in seemed like a really good, solid week. The ball literally didn't bounce our way a couple times. We have to make our own breaks and do a better job of making that happen to where the ball ends up in our hands, whether it's forcing turnovers or making sure that we don't put the ball on the ground and turn it over ourselves. So if all those things are part of that question, then I guess that would add to what he said after the game. Book has a good pulse of everything that's happening on the team, and so I trust that, and we've had great conversations. The whole leadership group since Saturday, and I feel like we're in a good spot.
Charlie, right side.
Yeah, hey, Coach. Just what do you say to fans who maybe wanted to see some more frustration from you after a loss like that?
That wanted to see what?
More frustration from you after a loss like the one on Saturday.
Oh, I'm extremely frustrated. We all are, but we're not going to lose our cool over that. We understand, what happened, and a lot of what I see in the response, even in the locker room. I guess, are you talking like press conference afterwards or something? 'Cause that's really the only time you could have seen me, I guess. I think that's me seeing what already is happening in 30 minutes, 20 minutes after the game's over. And I saw extreme frustration. I saw guys wanting to stick together, wanting to still do something special, believing in each other, expressing that. I had my part in there too, where we understood what happened, and that it's not up to our standard and how we had to proceed forward. And so yeah, we are all extremely frustrated. But we aren't going to sit and lose our cool because I don't think that's the right way to go about it. There's a time and place for everything, and again, we're still early in the season. We left ourselves a little less wiggle room to achieve some of the goals we have, but those goals are still out there, and we need to just focus on what our whole mindset is always to improve every single day, and that's never going to change. And to improve, I think you got to have things in perspective, and focus on the right areas, and our whole team is doing that.
Jump to the left side of Chase.
Coach Womack mentioned that Malachi had been held to account by the coaching staff to some extent. Is there anything that you can add to that? And was this a situation where a suspension would be considered?
No, we have handled it, and I'm just going to say this about Malachi. What he did, he has gone above and beyond in owning, taking ownership in it. And this is pretty much immediately after the game to this morning. Things that are all prompted by him, but also part of just our conversations. The guy, I think the thing I want to make sure Bama fans know is that this guy has been rock solid and been at a critical piece, along with others. There are some others as well, of keeping this thing together since January. Okay, when a lot of guys chose to leave, this guy stood firm. This guy loves Alabama football. He works relentlessly out there every single day on the football field. It's the passion that I hope. Questions asked about me and the passion and frustration. That's what you saw from him. And so, yeah, there's some things that, he regrets and wishes probably didn't do. Yeah, but he's owned up to it, and we've handled it internally, and still handling it internally. And so, he's a first-class guy. He is out in the community weekly, as just part of who he is, doing things to give back, understanding the platform he has. A lot of eyes are on our program. A lot of eyes are on him. And, this guy plays hard for himself, his teammates, but this program means so much to him. And so, doesn't make it right. Doesn't make it right by any means what some of the actions were, but I want people to understand also that he's had my and our back since day one, and there comes a point too where sometimes as things play out, you got to have your guys back, as well, and understand that we all make mistakes and we all, just got to own up to it, and we're doing that, and we will continue to move on.
Go to Kennington on the right side of the middle.
Through 5 games, this has been one of the most penalized teams in college football. How do you go about correcting that going into the second half of the season?
Well, I think we were doing a better job even in the game the other night. Obviously, there was the 15 yards at the end, right? The penalties, I think, in the moments is probably the biggest thing. And some of those calls are tough ones to have happen to you. I'm looking at Q coming in and trying not to, really hit the quarterback in an aggressive manner, but the penalty's there. There's not a recklessness about it as he's trying to get after the quarterback. He's just trying to do what he's supposed to do, and I'm trying to think of a couple other. There's going to be penalties that happen, and I don't feel like that was the major play in what hurt us. It's a part of it. Just like anything, I said earlier, when you do come out short, you end up amplifying everything. But I think there's execution and just things that we could have done better. We need to make sure we don't turn the ball over, and we need to get the ball in our possession. So again, we always talk about those things post game in our follow-up. We did that Sunday. We talked about the penalties, and just continuing to make sure we're working and focused on on that. And I think we had a couple games early, right, where the numbers really stacked up against us, and that's not helping our average, I guess, per game. Again, is it where we want it to be? No. Is last week's game where we want it to be? No. But I think that was a small part of it. All those little parts add up, and that's why you get what you got on Saturday.
All right, let's go to the left side over here, Michael.
How would you assess the way the defense adjusted during the game, and how involved are you in that process?
Yeah, we're always talking, and I'm seeing whether it's taking a look on the iPad or just conversations with Coach Womack. I think the key with anything, and that's including our team, is that not overreact. Understand exactly why what is happening, and you have adjustments built into your game plan, and so it might be mixing things up, but you also got to make sure that you're just executing against what you're seeing, and sometimes it might be something a little bit different, and you just need to have another opportunity against that look with the call you made defensively too, just to be able to execute better. So, you're always going to look back. Again, everything gets amplified. So you're always going to look back and say, well, we could have done this earlier or more or whatever it might be. Offensively, you do the same thing. And so, I know we've had those conversations, not just during, but after. And, again, the worst thing you can do is panic. When we have a defense that has shown had a lot of success here, through 5 games, and there's just little bits and pieces of what we got to do. We really, in the second half, I thought we did a much better job on first down and second down. The game was a first down game the first half. They put themselves in better situations. The second half, we just had to do a better job of getting off the field on third down.
Time for 2 more questions. Start with Ryan on the way.
Coach, your coaching record's well documented, a limited amount of losses. For your first loss at Alabama, what's kind of your message? Is it back to the drawing board? You said don't panic, or do you kind of just stay the course?
Yeah, that's exactly the words that I was going to say. Is you stay the course. That's what the message is to the team. Now, stay the course, right? But everything is always, just digesting what happened, having some perspective, and having the answers for the guys. That's what we have to make sure we do as coaches, so that we can walk away understanding what we can control, how we need to fix it, and just knowing that the next game there's going to be different matchups that are strengths for us. There's also going to be different matchups and ways that an opponent attacks us. And I'm not just talking offensively, but defensively. And we got to be ready. This position group can't get, one position group who had success can't get, all comfortable. I don't think we have, because you're the one that might have the tough matchup the next week. And as a team, that's what it's all about. You got to continue to work on your area, keep it within the team concept, stay the course, and just keep fighting, keep playing, and stick together. That's to me the biggest thing, and I've seen nothing but that here, in the last 24, 48 hours.
All right, we're going to finish up with Tony on the front left here.
We spoke with Kane about it. Sorry, but Jaheim opting out, did that come as a surprise to you? Did you have a conversation with him about that, and how did that kind of play out?
Yeah, Jaheim. I mean, felt like it was going that way. I think the thing you also have to understand is there's other elements to this, right? There's health elements. There's life elements. And so I mean, I was. I love these guys. They work hard, and Jaheim's choices and things. So there's reasons for that, right? And so, he notified, has notified and continued to be in communication here with us, and kind of felt like it was maybe going that direction, not just today or yesterday or just here in the last few days. So. We move forward with the guys that really are able to help us win, and focused on our program, and as we go through this, and I don't want to put finality to it, but always going to want what's best for all people, and Jaheim's one of them.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Awesome. Roll Tide.